Welcome to the space where creators have aligned a positive and intellectual collab of open minds. For sharing and learning from one another, it's a vibe. We do Rosa podcast on the mic. Subscribe, educators spitting bars. I guess you didn't know I'm multifaceted and humble, taking off life goals. The classroom is my comfort zone where I plant and sow seeds of knowledge, compassion, empathy, and hope. Reading is the key to unlocking your potential. Countless benefits, including cognitive and mental. Regardless of the genre, books are highly influential. Go get yours, I'll get mine. Making strides, monumental. And rock with me and get down to this new jam. With my friends, I had a very simple plan. Educate the masses through books and life lessons. It's the grand slam. I'm out. Sala Falava and welcome to the Reads with Rosa podcast. If you can't tell already, fam, I am so excited for today's show. I am joined by a hardworking, resilient, and God-fearing woman. She's a mother of four and a practicing lawyer. I've always known her to be doing something related to singing, and I am so excited that she is here to share her journey. It is such an honor to welcome to the show, Kitty Opetaia. Woohoo!
Oh, thanks, sis. What a nice, thank you, sis. So good to be on here. Thanks for the invitation. I feel really humbled and honored to be part of this because I've seen the people that you've had and they're just of a high caliber. So really humbled and real honored to be invited to be a part of this. Thank you.
Yes, welcome to the Reads of Rosa podcast family. Like I said, I'm so excited to have you here, sis. I mean, I know at the beginning I reached out to you and you were kind of like, do you really think I can bring something to the show? I was like, excuse you, of course. I'm so intentional with the people I bring on the show. And as you said, there've been just so many amazing, inspirational folks that it's been such a blessing to cross paths with and just to ask, invite them to the show to share space because honestly, sis, everyone has a story, everyone has a journey, and I'm excited to share the space with you today. Before we get into our talanoa, I like to ask our guests just, for a brief intro, perhaps shout out your villages and your community. Go ahead.
All right. Okay, so my name is Kitty Opetaia and I'm currently living in Tokoroa. I'm a mother of four kids. My parents hail from the villages of Saatalo and Siuniu and Falealili. Yeah, mainly those two. And I work based in Wellington. So at the moment, I've got this situation where I get to work from home from Tokoroa and travel between the Wellington and Auckland offices, which is a blessing in disguise. And no, it's a blessing, not a blessing in disguise. It's a blessing that they're able to provide that flexibility. So the job is a blessing that I can do that. Like I said, I've got four kids. I've been a single mom for over 15 years, but it's been a journey, and I'm grateful for all the learnings that have happened along that period. Still learning, even though three of them are now young adults, but the learning doesn't ever stop. It just transitions to another phase or another level up. Yeah.
Thank you for that. I have a lot of questions. It's such a blessing to cross paths again, to reconnect. Man, where do we begin?
Girl, my heart is
I guess if you were to describe yourself as a mom in a few words, how would you do that? Could you do that?
As a mom, I don't know. I think as a mom, I feel like I'm very critical of how I parent. And is it the thought of not doing as good as the way that I was parented, or not providing as much, not being in a situation, because it's very different. I was parented by two parents, and so the situation is definitely very different. As a single parent, you're trying to kind of emulate the things that you had learned, but then how do you do that as a single parent? Um, I think I've had to learn humility. Like humility doesn't come easy for me, if I'm being honest. Like I know that like a lot of our people are humble and that we speak from that place, but um, maybe I don't I was like raised pretty spoiled. And so like I was used to kind of like having my own way. As a parent, you're always having to face some hard truths, and it's not necessarily what your kids are going through, but like just having to reflect all the time so that you're able to be a better person to parent your kids. So yeah.
So then let's switch it up a bit and say, let's put on your lawyer hat. How would you describe yourself?
As a lawyer, um, I always have to like go back to like my why. So when I started out, I was working as a court registry officer in the courts, and I've seen a lot of people come through, sign their papers, and then I'm not their lawyer, but that asked me like, oh, so what happened? And this is after they've gone through the process of being sentenced. So that kind of struck me. And sometimes when you're in court and you're listening, I think that most of the time Pacifica are in a better position to be able to articulate the things that go on for Pacifica people, that we're in a better position to like understand and at least communicate that better for ones who speak English as their second language. So yeah, I had previously worked as a criminal defense lawyer because a lot of our people go through the system. And I don't know, like for me, I'm mindful of like the backgrounds that a lot of these people come from, and it's not necessarily their fault. It just, when I look at them, I think like, if I'd been in the same situation, I could have made the decision to do the same thing. And if I come from that place, then I hope that you're less likely to be judgmental and that you're really there to want to help. So now where I'm at, I work as a prosecutor, but we prosecute businesses and employers where our people are likely to be the victims in those situations. So like I didn't want to become a prosecutor for the police because it just conflicted with my values or like my views in terms of like seeing a lot of our people go through the system. And I didn't want to be a part of that because I don't feel that that's necessarily the answer or the way to kind of help our people out of that, just out of their predicament or out of their circumstances. I think that there are alternatives that need to be explored for our people that might, we just have a different mindset from the non-Pacifica, I'll just say non-Pacifica people.
The Western way
Yeah,
of doing things, like
yeah,
Western mindset or constructs or
yeah,
systems
yeah.
that are in place, like.
And so if we don't have like that collective support around them, then you're definitely, I feel, on my view, less likely to succeed if you're isolated from that collective unit that other people can have the benefit of doing or experiencing. Like I just don't feel like we're really made to navigate those situations on our own. Yeah, that's my view. So yeah, that's me as a lawyer. Do I necessarily feel like I'm always challenging myself and always very critical of myself in that area as well? Like, I don't ever think that I'll ever get to a point where I feel like I've arrived, and that like I'm a great lawyer. There's just like always so much to learn, always so much to take into account, and being wary that like change is continuous. It's never like a fixed thing, or it's never stagnant. So always hopeful for change where change needs to happen. So yeah, I guess that's the lens that I look through as a lawyer.
What was the inspiration there, or at least the motivation to go into
Yeah.
studying law?
Mm, like I remember the moment too. Like I was working I mean, yeah, that experience as a court registry officer and sometimes seeing some of the lawyers stand up in court, thinking like, man, I could do that, and I could. And you're kind of like having to hold back because it's not your place. You're not the lawyer standing up in court. But when there are lawyers standing up representing their people, and you can hear, some of the things that are said in your mother tongue, like things that are said in Samoan that go through the interpreter and then come through a lawyer, and whatever is being said, or like the way that they're advocating is still not capturing, what is being said by the defendant in court. So there was, at the time that I had decided to pursue a law degree, like I had already split with my ex-husband at the time, and we had 4 kids together, and the kids were with me, and it was a massive decision. He had graduated, like in the time that we had split, he had got like a degree himself or a qualification, and I was just kind of doing the day-to-day 9 to 5 thing. And I realized that at that point, like I knew that I probably resent myself, resent the decision of not stepping out if I stayed in that position for, it wasn't something that I wanted to do in 5 years' time or in 10 years' time. And then I thought about the message that I was sending to my kids if I just chose to settle. And I didn't want that for my kids. I don't ever want them to feel like they have to settle just because it's comfortable. So yeah, in 2011, I decided to enroll into a law program at Waikato. And yeah, we relocated from Puriroa to Tokoro at the time, and then Hamilton when I started out. I also remembered like my dreams that my grandparents had for me. They were the ones that raised me, and like they had invested a lot of money and time, and me being like my spoiled and rebellious self, I kind of like made some dumb decisions. And I thought, if I started on my law degree, then I can kind of progress this path of making it, giving back to them. My mum had already passed away at that time, but I still carry her in my memory. And my dad was diagnosed with cancer just before I graduated. And yeah, he was able to see me graduate, and then he passed away shortly after. But yeah, there's just like so many reasons that went into why I chose law. And I remember like halfway through, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so not what I want to do. And I thought, like, you know what, maybe I want to teach, because I would have like my son and his friends over and kind of help them out with homework. But I remember like talking to one of the judges and saying like, oh, actually he was like, oh, how's law going? How's your studies going? And I was like, yeah, it's all right, but I'm thinking of like changing to teaching. And he's like, nonsense, Kitty, you've come this far, you're already halfway, finish it off, let your kids see you finish it, and then work for 2 years and then see how you go from there. And then that was all I needed to hear. So I stuck it out, and here I am, still practicing. Like just over 5 years later.
I mean, how did you choose? As you're coming through the program, like now you graduated, you're still there. But how, like in terms of like choosing that specialist area that you want to be practicing in, like has that decision been difficult, or is it really, decisions that are driven by your values, your children, your family, everyone that's come before you, your community, your church? Like, has that had a huge impact on this path that you're taking as a lawyer?
I think, yeah, definitely. If I think, one, like sticking it out. That's the message that I definitely want to pass on to my kids, to like not leave things half finished, but to stick it out even when it gets tough. And studying with, like, as a single parent of 4 kids and trying to manage their timetable as well as my own, and working part-time as a cleaner, which was like really humbling as well. Yeah, it was just, I need them to see me finish this, complete this. So yeah, that was like one aspect that I considered. Two, definitely my parents. I know that they had dreams. Oh, okay, hold on. Yeah. I know that they had dreams for me. You know, as most parents do. The fact that like mum wouldn't have seen me kind of even embark on that journey, but I kind of like carry on like she is watching. And then even when dad was still able to see me cross that stage, yeah, they factor into my decision as well. My parents here in Tokoroa, like their support, and my siblings, like their support and even their striving, like I think, I don't know, like I just think that like people are watching. You never know what kind of message, or you never know what kind of encouragement you might be sending. Like we think we sometimes kind of like get limited to our own circle or our own circumstances, but the truth is like other people are watching. So yeah, like I've been not, you know, like just kind of like I've had people like approach me and say that they have been watching from the sides and that they're really proud of me, which means a lot. Having seen the people that came through the system, like my heart goes out to them too. And I always think that that could have been me, knowing that I had made some dumb decisions in my past. I think it's like by the grace of God, and also like for the people, like I'm blessed with a massive community, church community, my family, and there are some out there that don't have that support. And, you know, and even in spite of like some of the dumb decisions that I had made, the support still remained. You know, like the disappointment was very clearly expressed by these people, but, you know, like the love and the support was still there. Their presence was still there. You know, and I'd seen some people come through the system whose families, you know, you'd hear about, were just quick to turn their backs. And so, yeah, those people kind of like weigh on my mind. It's not like one aspect. There's just like so many things that kind of like feed into why I chose to do what I did, and why I still stick at it. And even up till this day, there are days where like you think, do I still want to be doing this? But you know, like you have to come back to your why. If you didn't have a solid why in the first place, then it's easy to drift from that. But it's always, I guess you have to kind of ask yourself those questions. Or for me, I have to ask myself those questions because there are days where I really do need to be reminded of my why. And I think it's also like a challenge to myself, an encouragement to myself, not just the fact that I can do it, but like the need to do it. And if I have the ability to be able to like help in that way, then, you know, like why not?
You know, when you think about milestones in your law career, is there a milestone or, you know, a professional achievement that you just look at and go, I did that? Not in a, you know, just in like, I actually did that. You know, I did that.
Yeah. I think it's dependent on like certain people. So it's just like maybe like a individual experience. Like if you advocate for a better sentencing outcome. Like, those are the rewarding parts of the job for me. And I remember when I had first told a couple of lawyers that I was going to go into law, they were like, silly girl, why would you do that? There's no money in criminal defense. And so then, like, when I heard that, I remember like studying and thinking like, okay, no money. I've got 4 kids. I really need to kind of like look at the areas that would, provide. But that, like during that process, that's not where my heart lay, and ended up in criminal defense. And yeah, it's not like the most high paying. So like when you go into criminal defense, you're definitely not doing it for the money, or I'm not doing it for the money. It's not the money. That's not the payoff. It's being able to like see some change, or see perspectives challenged, views challenged, even having your own views challenged. So I'm going into it for like a more collective growth, because I know I'm definitely growing from it, having heard the experiences of other people. It's humbling. And then I think also like it helps me be a lot more grateful for the things that I do have. It just kind of gives that perspective. And then those are the things that I can pass on to my kids, not necessarily like, the circumstances of the defendant, but the lessons that I'm taking on board while I'm doing what I do. So yeah, in terms of like milestones, haven't been looking to like kind of achieve a certain thing. It's just, I don't know, I guess like internal rewards. And then like when I get to go home and then I feel good about what I do or what I've done. And then even like when you're having discussions with your colleagues, and then there are some like views that are being challenged, even my own views are being challenged. So yeah, I think like the milestones are just like the growth that's happening, if that makes sense.
It does. So how do you manage work life and home life? Like, are you someone who can just switch off, or do the demands of your career, your job, kind of like make it challenging?
I mean, like now my kids are at an age where they can kind of self-manage. Do they always do it? No. But like I was in court on Monday, and I've been trying to get in touch with my kids because they were in like different places, like no response. And then while I'm in court, one's trying to video call, 2 are sending text messages. I was just like, honest to you. So managing family, I think communication is key. But honestly, I don't think it would have been a whole lot harder if I didn't have the community. And I'm grateful to God, because I really believe that everywhere we go, He's orchestrated the right people to be in our community. And I'm very proud in that, like, I don't like asking for help. And so a lot of the things that we do are kind of like just within our inner circle. But fear of being people that God's really just kind of like either put in our path where either I've had to like humble myself, or I've just kind of like stepped in all along the way. Like since I felt that He kind of put in like, it's time to go and study. And I remember having that like battle, or like that dialogue with Him about like all the fears and all the insecurities that I needed to deal with to be able to take that step to embark on a law degree. And then even just during, like, while parenting and trying to work and progress in the job, yeah, I really, like, even as a single parent, I just know that I didn't do it on my own. There are things that you kind of go through on your own, but in terms of having come through it, I honestly am grateful for just the people that He placed in our lives at the time. So wherever it was, whether we were in Tokoroa or Hamilton or or in Puriroa or in Wellington City. God really just gave us security and reassurance by placing the right people to speak into our lives. And I'm very mindful of the people that I surround my kids with. I know that like I'm limited in what I can pass on to my kids, that I have like a limited perspective. And there are other people who are gifted and talented at what they are talented, or, like just they have their own respective giftings and talents, that are able to speak into my kids' lives or encourage my kids in a way that I can't. And I think that having that awareness has helped me be a better parent, because I'm not just relying on my own strength. You're really trusting God to kind of like take care of it all. And I'm a massive believer that He worked it all out. My favorite verse is Romans 8, verse 28. All things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are called according to His purpose. And I know that we each have a purpose, and we're all still kind of like walking that out. And even in the moments where I don't understand what's going on, or like the was like how far ahead, like I can't see as far ahead as I'd like to. There is just like trust that I have to like lean on, knowing that He is going to take care of it all. And there have been like some real mud moments, some breakdown moments, but I think it's in those moments where I really have felt that He has picked me up and reassured me that He's got it in control. So yeah, single mom, but didn't do it on my own. That makes sense, I guess, if I could capture that part of the journey.
Let's talk about your babies. Your babies are all growing up. 3 of them are young adults now. I know, like, you're feeling some kind of way about that. Are they still singing? Are they still making music? I mean, it is in their blood. I mean, tell me about this. Are they still singing and just blessing crowds with their voices and making music?
So on the way here, so I just got off the bus coming from Wellington to Tokoroa, and then I'd watched our live stream for our Hope Church service in Wellington. So my second child, Tyler, she's part of the worship team. She is still singing. She does her own music. She might be like putting stuff on TikToks. TikTok. The eldest one is making his music. And so he had graduated from Toi Whakaari, so drama, music, and creative arts is like his passion. So he's looking to kind of do something with his music, but looking to kind of release the songs at a given time. But at this time, I think he's just kind of getting input. Number 3, I don't know that he's like been into, like he is into music and he can sing, like they all can sing, but he hasn't really been like keen on performing or anything. He's the guy that'll just say yes if he's invited to like sing along. But I don't know whether it's like something on his heart. He just kind of prefers to do it in the privacy of our own home, or just like for his own enjoyment. But he probably won't like me saying this, but like Zion is always critical of his own ability, and I feel like he doesn't always feel that he is at the level of his older 2 siblings. Like, yeah, they have like their little competitions, but we're always having to tell him that he's just as good. So yeah, 4 kids, 4 different personalities. All 4 are amazing at singing, even the youngest one, who also does it for her own enjoyment. So think when Akila like performed with your younger brother, or like he didn't perform with, but like he got invited to get up on stage and sing that night. So yeah, I was just like, did you get to talk? I was just like, did you get to talk to him? Did you like say hi? Like, yeah, okay.
Cool.
That's all I wanted to know.
So cool. I mean, as your children are getting older and they're achieving their own goals and dreaming, what kind of emotions are you grappling with as a mother?
Emotions. Like I definitely miss the five of us being in one space. And as we're sending text messages to each other, like love and miss you heaps. Like I'm just reflective on the time that we had, when we were all together. I think that along the way I kind of like prepared myself for the moments. Like I think I'm just made that way, that I always prepare myself for like the worst feelings. And so yeah, it is. I feel like I'm like, I won't say ready, I'm just at least prepared. Knowing that like this is what I was to do. I was to kind of like create a space where they would feel the confidence, or have the confidence to chase whatever dreams that they had, and to know and trust themselves to be able to do it, and nurture their personalities, because they are four different personalities. And so, yeah, even today on the bus ride, I was just like reflecting on that. And, like if I'm proud of anything, I'm proud of anything. Like I'm really proud of my kids, and the people that they are. Yeah. So, feeling a lot of emotions. I always choose to be excited for what's to come and what's in store for them. I guess that's probably like the main emotion that I sit on. Yeah, there's like a yearning and a longing to like see them all the time, but like even as I didn't remain with my parents when I got into like young adulthood, that time is now mine. And so I think like for parents with young kids, don't get caught up in the busyness of the 9 to 5. Enjoy the moments, even if it just looks like sitting in the lounge watching TV together, like, because those are our memories and those are the things that we have a laugh about. We would often travel in the car between Tokoroa and Wellington, or Auckland and Wellington. And so, yeah, like all the memories that we have together are memories that we laugh about. So, yeah, I guess that would be my encouragement, because then when it comes to the time that it's for them to transition out of home, that like you've spent the time, like you've spent the time very well with the kids while they were in your care. So I'm at peace, I should say. Yeah, I am at peace.
It's interesting.
And then whenever the opportunity comes up, if ever like an opportunity comes up to be together, then I'm like, so there.
You're like, I'm there now, right now.
Yeah.
It's interesting to hear you talk about, the trip, because as you mentioned, traveling between Tokoroa and Wellington, I'm just thinking, road trips, lots of singing in the car. I mean, am I imagining that, or is that really how it was? Battles, singing.
Oh my gosh. And you know what, like like the rides would like start out, we're like singing along to like a CD or something. And because like we only had like a couple of CDs on repeat. But like I remember it would start off with me going like, you're flat. And now it's them going like, Mum, like no.
They're like,
and then they do the run that I can't do, and I'm just like, ugh. Okay.
Tell us about your name. For those who are curious, where does your name come from? I actually watched a video where you were talking about this.
Wow. My yeah. Thanks for the question. Kitty. So, ugh, so my grandparents, they're the ones that named me, and um, yeah, they didn't have any kids at home, so they just had this pet cat that they named Kitty, and that Kitty was their baby, like the baby that would like go everywhere with them, sleep with them. And so then when I came along, like the light bulb moment was just like, oh, Kitty, just name her Kitty. So yeah, when people ask me like, is it short for anything? I'm like, no. Oh, interesting. Yeah, it is interesting. You get
Yeah.
your name from like, yeah,
Did kids
got
give
named
you a
after the
hard
cat.
did you know at school, did kids give you a hard time? Like, not to bring back any scarring moments as a youngster, but were kids like, man, did they have jokes or were they like giving you
Yeah,
like
they
a
had
difficult
jokes,
time?
especially this one kid that lived on my street. Like, but every time, and like people would just come up with like different variants of my name. So it wasn't just here, kitty, kitty. It was like Knits, knits. And so then this one guy that lived on my street, and then we ended up at school together that was like up the road. And then when I changed schools, I felt like, sweet, I'm not going to see that boy anymore. And then like, wait, I changed schools in like another suburb over, and then he was there, and I was like, I can't get away from you. I can't get away from you. But every time he would see me, he'd just always like, I was just like, yeah. So no, yeah, heaps of people came up with like different variants of my names. Oh, I'm not even going to say what the others were,
Did any of your
but
siblings like name like middle name for their children? Like, is there another kitty out there, or it's a very
the
unique
only
name?
one. And there can only be one.
The OG, the original.
Yeah, there can only be one. I can't even picture like I can't even imagine that my kids will probably name their child Kitty. I'm just like, it's okay. I won't be offended. I'm not offended if no one names their kid after me. It's all right. Safe in the
We
trauma, I suppose.
I was wondering if you were much of a reader growing up, because I imagine in your field of work, okay, maybe I'm making assumptions, that a lot of reading, you gotta read a lot. Like,
Yeah,
am I assuming things here? Like, were you much of a reader, or is it now
yeah.
you're in a job where you gotta read? Like,
No, we have to read a lot. There's like a lot of cases. And so especially now that I've like transitioned from um, criminal defense into prosecuting for the organization that I do, it's just, yeah, we have a different act. And so there's different cases that I have to get familiar with. And you know what, like for me to switch off, I just like will sit and watch what my kids watch on TV. But I find that like I'm wanting something to like stimulate my brain that's not work related or that's not in Korean. In Korean when I'm watching K drama with my kids, my girls, I should say, or like the music that they're into. So I use the Audible app.
oh yeah, yeah.
So like when I'm in the car on my own, then that's the way that like I get through a book. I wouldn't say read, but that's the way that I'm able to like visualize reading material. So that's one of my outlets.
Mm.
Yeah.
I love that. I'm a huge advocate for audiobooks. I love audiobooks, and I just think that like sometimes I'll be cleaning and I'm just listening to like I'm starting to like read physical books. I'm a huge like audiobook and ebook reader just because I commute to work. So
Yeah.
um now I'm slowly getting back into the physical. I know people say I've had people on the show, they're like, it's the feel of the book. And I'm just like, yeah, but I'm always like rushing to get somewhere. I'm
Mhm.
commuting and like holding. I mean, I see people who hold books. Lots of people read on the trains here in Japan, but they're like little books, and then I'm coming with my massive ass novel. This book, I'm like,
Yeah,
that is
yeah,
not
yeah.
it. Like, but audiobooks, I love that you do that. And yeah, I'm always recommending to people. People will be like, oh, I didn't have time. And I'm like, oh, audiobook, man,
Yeah.
it's such a good investment, Audible, or there are other apps, that you can get you know, audiobooks on. So I'm
Yeah.
so happy to hear that. um,
Yeah.
I want to talk about signature choir, and you're part of this movement. I mean, you're part of this project. Whew. I was so gutted that I could not be there to watch it. I mean, I know
Mm.
I'm just watching it through my brother's stories, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
amazing. Tell us about your journey with, or just being part of signature choir, uh, performing with the New Zealand Symphony Orchestra. I mean, how amazing is that? The music was beautiful.
Yeah, as a member like of Signature Choir, like um so it came at like a perfect time for me, like because like it was just work and then family, and I really needed something for me. And when I got invited by Helen to Pai to be part of Signature Choir, and she's like the amazing conductor
Mm,
and composer for Signature Choir, along with Jed. But like, it's something that she's like known for, and so gifted at. Um, so yeah, when I got invited to be a part of it, it allowed me, one, to kind of expand the community. Like I got to meet other people because we'd moved into the Wellington area, and we only knew like the communities at church or like at work. So those are the only people that we knew. Everyone that we're used to live in either Wellington or Auckland. And so when I joined up with Signature Choir, yeah, met more people who have like the same passion for music. And then just surrounded by like amazing singers. Like you think like, oh yeah, like maybe like there's like a few good singers. Like everyone in that choir can sing. Everyone in that choir has like an amazing voice. Everyone in that choir has got an amazing ear.
mm,
So it's like there's like a high caliber of like talent and giftings in the choir itself. And then being part of Signature Choir and then sharing the vision that Helen and Jad and Dana had for the choir was like they shared it in a way that we were able to capture it. The first concert in Wellington was amazing. I think at that time my two boys were living with me and my two girls had gone to live with their dad. But just seeing the reaction, like it was something that was like massively for our people. And then it was an opportunity for our older folk to, listen to the orchestra. And the other thing was like they kept the prices low. Because, like, I mean, for the price that it should have been, you probably only had like one or two from a Samoan or like, any Pacifica family. But like Pacifica families like aren't small. They're not like the Western families where they're like maybe like two or four. And so they priced it so, like you could have like your whole family attend. And I think it was like organized that way for the Spark Arena concert. Um, it's just like it's not like how do I say it? Like a lot of work went into it, and being a part of like just the general choir, like I already knew that there was like a lot of work that we were putting into it, but then like when you're thinking about the work that we're putting into it, then you definitely know that there's like amazing work going into it. With Helen and Jed who are teaching all the music, all the songs. And Helen doesn't just stop there, like she goes into the background of each song, explaining it to us so that we kind of capture the essence of the song. And so it's not just singing, it's like you're 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 retelling the story. You're making it your own, like, and knowing that it's like a shared um I don't know, like I don't know if like how to. I might just like need a pause because I'm trying to think of like a way, the best way to like um communicate what that was like. I mean, some of the songs that we sing, we know the words, and then we sing it like cool. But until you know like the meaning and the essence behind the song, it just kind of hits you different so that you're able to like express it or sing it out different. And knowing that you're never going to be able to like connect as well with the audience unless you've made a connection to that song. So Helen did like a fantastic job in enabling us to be able to do that with each of the songs in the repertoire. Yeah, and just being able to like extend family. Like after the first concert, I always want those shared experience. Like I always want like these positive experiences to be shared with my kids. And so before the second concert, I'd encouraged my daughter to join, and she wasn't keen because she's not one to like step out of her comfort zone. But she joined and she loved it, and I love being able to see her make her own connections with the Signature Choir family. So yeah, it's never just like for one reason why I do things. There's like layers to why I might get involved, and it won't necessarily just be for me. So having my family attend the Spark Arena concert, they were blown away. And my dad, who, so there's when I talk about my dads, there's like the dad who raised me, my granddad, who will always be my dad, and then there's my dad here in Tokoroa. And so yeah, he, concerts aren't his thing. This was his first concert ever. And so it was his first opportunity to, one, hear the orchestra on their own, and then hear the music. And he was blown away. Like my brother said that he was crying in the seats and he couldn't keep going on. Like it's not for him to keep going on about something. But my family all talked about like how he just kind of went on and on and on about it, and was trying to encourage my mum to like try and make the next one if ever there was a next one. Yeah, so multi-layered as to like the reasons why I love being part of Signature Choir. Yeah.
What type of music moves your soul?
What type of music moves my soul? The ones that tell the story, the ones that really encourage you to kind of like come out of your pit. And so I hope there's not like a theme where I'm like talking about like coming out of the pit, but like it's just so yeah, it often happens like with gospel music. There is an element of it that like you're not relying on your own strength, but like God's aware of like your circumstances. There's ones that are just like relevant for the moment. Where like there's another song, Encourage Yourself. And that was a timely song when I was listening to it, because it was a time when I was in a place where I really did need to encourage myself. I was relying on people to minister to me, and I really felt God was saying, I've given you the tools and you're relying on these people, but you actually have direct access to me. And because you have direct access to me, you can come to me. You've got my word right in front of you. Like you're able to encourage yourself. I don't know why you're relying on these people. And it was at a time when I was complaining about like, the minister speaking in the pulpit, and I was like, I got nothing from that. I got nothing from that, Papa. And he's just like, you can encourage yourself. You've got the tools. I've given you the tools, and I'm also here. So it's when I'm moved, it's like when I hear a song that's like relevant for me at that moment. That other song, Psalms 121, I will lift up mine eyes to the hills from whence cometh my help. So all the songs that like have encouraged me at a certain time at a place or across a period of time, those are the songs that I've taught to my kids and those are the songs that they'll often sing. And so I think those are the ones that were probably recorded and uploaded to like their YouTube video, but like they'll go to I think there's like a solid maybe like 4 or 5 songs that they'll like always repeat, because if they've spoken to me at a time, if they've spoken to them at a time, I just feel like those songs and the lyrics are timeless, that they're always going to connect with someone wherever it is that they're at, regardless of the period in between the time that they've sung the songs, if that makes sense. Yeah. So yeah,
I wanted to thank you for sharing. You're doing a great job, by the way. I wanted to ask about affiliate marketing. I know that's now that's also another chapter in your journey. Could you tell us a little bit about it? You know, there might be people listening who might want to reach out, who might be curious, if that's okay, if you can share on that.
Yeah. So affiliate marketing, like I didn't know anything about it. I'd seen one of my friends post on Instagram about, affiliate marketing, and it was just like about products. And then, it was, her approach was, use this link for a discount. And I was just like, okay, cool. Thought about like what that might be like, but I was just like, no, that's not for me. I'm not looking for discounts. But with a couple of friends that I'd started to see online, one I went to high school with, and the other one I knew in high school, they were posting about like just being able to get like an extra source of income, and like as a single parent. And even though I was like working as a lawyer and had reached because I thought that like once I'd reached 6 figures, I'd be set, But with the household bills, with the 5 of us, like it was still tight. And when I thought about it, like it's still less than a 2-parent household while the kids were going through school. So like I kind of, I guess, wanted to apply like what my parents, because they never wanted me to work. They just were the ones to provide so that I could focus in school. And I kind of wanted that for my kids, where they could just focus at school. And, I was just like looking at another source of income. So with the affiliate marketing thing, I'd seen that these 2 friends, one had been made redundant during the whole COVID restriction period, and one was able to choose to retire from her job, which, like when you see that those are significant changes and how they're going to like, I guess, progress from there, it just is going to like spike my curiosity. And so I just kind of like watched their journey for a bit, and having seen them continue to do well, and they still do well because I work with them now. It just provided a massive opportunity. And it's not just something that you're kind of like tugging at on your own. There's like a community of people, and it's definitely results motivated. So it's probably not something that I had looked at going into, but because of the results and because I had seen the results for people that I trusted, then that was probably, that was, I guess, what made me make inquiries. And then now seeing like other people who are in it and are doing really well. Like I said, like it's like results motivated. What else do I say about that? But that is the reason why I'm coming to Japan. Like the conference is related to affiliate marketing.
If there's someone watching, listening, they might be interested. Is there some kind of website that they can go to? You know, if it's piquing their curiosity, like
So each of us kind of like, there's like a massive ass compensation plan that is probably also like the appeal, like it provided like the attraction and the appeal for me. And I'm very skeptical about these things when it, we've all seen a lot of like plans that kind of like say, oh, you can do this, you can make this. And so, yeah, I'll definitely send the link or even get in touch, I guess, personally. You can like ask me personally and I can help you out.
That's awesome. If you are listening, if you're tuning in, fam, on the podcast platforms on YouTube, click the link in the bio. The link's in the bio. You can connect with Kitty. You can check out the website. She's going to provide the goods for us. So if you are curious, if you're kind of sitting there going, could this be for me? Definitely check it out and connect. There we go.
Yeah. I wish I'd known about it while I was in university. Like, I definitely feel like it would have, had I started then and had I known about it then, it definitely would have alleviated a lot of financial concerns that kind of like still existed even while I was working the 9 to 5. Even now, while I'm still working the 9 to 5, like I'm reliant on this to kind of to supplement the income so that I can kind of achieve some goals. Because, the 6-figure thing, it just isn't quite cutting it, isn't quite hitting the mark. And so, I'm having to kind of like find another source of income so that I can operate like a 2-parent household, if that makes sense.
Nice. In reflection, like, this journey, life journey, are you content with where you are currently? Like right now, are you happy? Are you good? Are you content? Are you still trying to figure things out? Are you still, I don't know, where you at?
Yeah. I totally, like, I think that there's like a level of contentment that, like not being dissatisfied with what you have. So I'm content with what I have, but I don't ever want to kind of reach a point where I'm feeling complacent, that I'm just not growing or not learning or not stretching myself. Because again, like when I do those things, I don't think that they just benefit me. I think that in me doing that, it benefits my kids who are watching, and it also benefits others who are watching. In that, the things and the steps that we take are going to provide an encouragement to someone else, regardless of what it looks like. When you're stepping out of your comfort zone, even at 40, I'm 45, like even at 45, that like you never reach a point where I'm good. Like I am good, I am content, I am happy. But the one person that I like that comes to mind, we've lost a massive giant who in the community, and not just in the Otara community, but in the Pacifica community, and the way that he served, and the way that he served right up till his last moments, and that was Whanana Efeso Collins. I think that just like his life of service should be a massive encouragement. Like there was no, he kept going. And so I think that like that is also an encouragement to us. Like it's not the like, what else can we do? What else can we do? But like more like, is there something else that we could do? And with the times changing, like, the things that applied back in the day 10 years ago aren't applicable anymore. Technology, Facebook, social media, all these other things, like if we're not learning and trying to keep up the time, then we need to be mindful of being open to that so that we're able to communicate better to the younger ones that we're trying to influence, and communicate better to our people who might be utilizing these services. So yeah, while I'm good, I'm not settled, if that makes sense. Yeah. Mm-mm.
Makes sense. Makes sense. It makes sense. I hear you. I hear you. Um, Self-care, your favorite thing to do outside of work, outside just for you. Now I know there's never just a for you, because
Mm-mm.
you're not that type of person. You're very selfless and caring and loving and just, you know, but if there were, what are some things that you enjoy doing? You've got your audiobooks and you've, I don't know, downtime for you. Like, what do you like to do?
So I have two bulldogs
Mm.
that just bring out like just a different side of me. Yeah, there's time with them. Downtime for me, what does that look like? Mm, I guess just like I really do love, now that I know that like my kids have kind of like are doing their own thing. Um, Downtime for me is just sitting in their company and watching them do their thing. And being with family, because having gone through a period where I didn't really have that around, like I enjoy those moments. And so if ever I'm able to get that, then I'm definitely that's like a cup filling. So I guess downtime is looking for the things that like really fill my cup, and it's being around the people that I trust to speak into my life. Like I have been just this past week with really close friends in Porirua. And then also, yeah, with my family. So yeah, just finding the cup filling moments is my source of downtime. Time alone with him. When I say him, I mean God,
No,
because there is no
yeah, I
other.
was like, yeah, but I was like, yeah, I know you're talking about God. What are you talking? You, yeah, just checking in. I was like,
Yeah, time alone with God. Yeah, so time alone with God is another cup filling moment. But like, yeah. So when I'm at my parents' house, they've got like a pool. And that's time where I can kind of like reflect.
do your laps.
Um, yeah. And if anyone can like recommend a good massage therapist, I have found one who operates in Auckland, but if ever I'm done in Wellington or in Waikato, yeah, I'm just like, that would be like probably the one thing that I would look to doing a little bit more often, is just like having those moments where I can just rub all the yuck out, because there are yuck days like and yuck moments that I just kind of like physically need to be like rubbed out. Yeah.
Yeah, that's normal. So, I know we got listeners, followers from Wally Ways. Like, if you're out there, if you know anyone, hook it up. I mean, sorry, like massage therapist. That's
Yeah,
what I'm talking about. I'm like, what are you talking about, Kitty? Okay. Book recommendations. What's a book recommendation that you're like, this is it. This is the one book you've got to listen to or read. Any book
yeah.
recs for us?
I saw that you had like a few people had recommended The Alchemist,
Oh,
which was
yes.
a great recommend. Yeah.
Okay.
The other book that really kind of like, and I know that I need to read it. It's like one of those ones where I want to read again, because there were some good nuggets. But it's called Holier Than Thou, and that's by Jackie Hill Perry. Um, and I think it was just like for me, just some truths that kind of like help shift my perspective about God, um, and His love for me, and also just just like what my faith looks like in today's world. And yeah, it was just some good challenging moments for me. So that is definitely a book that I need to read or listen to again, because I don't think that one time is enough. I really think that like it's a book that you kind of like need to read a bit and then sit on it for a bit, like not just kind of read from cover to cover straight through. But yeah, that's a recommend. I would recommend that book because it got me good.
What some encouragement that you might have for single mums who are just out there trying to, I don't know, trying to go into studying, trying to get a career? What would you say to them?
I definitely say like do it. Um, I think like it's easier said than done because there's like you like with everything, you're always having to count the cost before you kind of put your hand to something. Um, but I think that you really need to remember your why. Like, why do you want to do this? And if some people operate different and that they need to kind of write out the pros and cons, but sometimes like the cons might outweigh the pros, but it might be something that you're actually called to do. And so if you really feel like you're called to do something, then like the list doesn't matter. Um, it's I guess, well, for me, it's the relationship and the trust that you have in God that whatever you go through, He'll carry you through it. And then I don't know if you like to, but like, I remember like there was like a shit day, right? That I found myself like I'd broken down in the shower, like I couldn't stop crying. And I remember crying out to Him, and like I had felt that He had put a song in my heart at the time when He was teaching me to encourage myself, and that song like got recorded. We like I just kind of taught it to like our worship team at the time, and it became like one of the songs on the album. And I got like a lot of feedback in that, like it had helped other people in their journey, like processing grief or processing time that they had gone through. And so it just goes back to the thing where like the things that we go through are never just for us. Like it's always going to be a lesson in it for someone else. The things that you carry are of value to many more people outside of yourself. And no one's going to ever know that value unless you choose to go through it. But yeah, count the cost. And if you really feel like you're called to do it, and if it's something that is in your heart, then trust it. Trust that everything is going to work out. And if you ever need some encouragement or reassurance, like please feel free, because those are the things that I'm passionate about too. So yeah, they can always reach out, and I'm happy to like walk alongside or talk through things like that, because yeah, I've been through some like mud as moments, like worse than mud. There's like a more appropriate word rather than just mud, but yeah, I hope that like I just hope that people kind of like are willing to take the risk and step out in faith.
What are you looking forward to? 2024, we are in February. February is coming to a close, actually. 2024, the rest of the year, are you looking forward to anything in
Well, the trip
particular?
to Japan is one thing. And then working towards goals to, just achieving some of the goals that I have like in my list that have been there for a while. So that's my plan of attack this year, and seeing these things come to fruition.
Nice. As we look to close up the podcast, to close our show, I have to say just a huge thank you. As I mentioned in the beginning, you were really kind of like questioning, am I really gonna? What can I bring to the show? You were questioning that. What can I bring to the show? And I was just like, trust me, your story will resonate. Your trials and your challenges and things, your experiences, like they will resonate with someone who is watching and someone who
Mm.
is listening. So I really just wanted to say, in case I break down, so I'm going to keep it short. I just want to say, sis, thank you so much for coming on the show, for being courageous and strong and brave to come into the space. It's never easy. I've had just so many wonderful folks come on the show, inspirational. Everyone has a journey. Everyone
Mm.
has walked the path, is still, walking that path. And yeah, thank you for the inspiration and the encouragement today. Like, I'm really feeling some kind of way, and it's just such a blessing to be able to
Thanks,
reconnect
Rosa.
and cross paths again. Um, yeah, I gotta stop there because I might just like gungy. But I appreciate you so much for coming and sharing today. And I'm just glad to
Mm.
see that you're alive. You are well, you are
Yeah,
thriving, you are
same.
living,
Yeah, for
you
me, to
are
you.
role modeling for your beautiful kids who are now young adults, well, 3 of them. It's been real special today. So I'm just going to throw it back to you and um yeah, just ask you. I mean, you've dropped so many gems just right throughout the show, but just some final words to close us off. And yeah.
Mm. Yeah, I think one of the things that I've learned, like, we can, like, firstly, thank you for having me on. Also, like, it's been awesome. Like, when you reached out, I was just like, oh my gosh, she's alive. I was like, where has this girl been? Like, honestly, I was like, surely yeah, anyway, I'm just so grateful that, like, you reached out. More just to see that you're alive, and now I know where you are and that you're in Japan, not wondering, like, where has she disappeared off to? Yeah. Um, One thing to leave behind is just, like, I guess, always choose to be excited. Always choose to be excited. Um, like, when people tell me that, like, something's going on, I always say, like, I'm excited for you. And I can say that with, like, I can say that genuinely because I just trust that God has, like, just the best in store for us. Like, and regardless of how tough it looks, I'm excited for the lessons. I'm excited for the breakthrough. I'm excited for the outcome. I'm excited for the learnings that we're going to get that are going to make us better. Um, and I'm excited that I'm not going to be the same person. And I'm excited for other people who I come into contact with that you won't remain the same. Nothing is going to stay the same. Yeah. So always just, I guess, choose to be excited.